Berkshire is the clear winner. Statistically significant. We don't even need to do. Thanks for voting, everyone. Okay, we'll do the price of the A shares and the price of the B shares up here. Yeah, Berkshire's a pain. At least the start of one. So yeah, there's 1 million shares of Berkshire outstanding. We're at 700,000 roughly right now. So this is the A share. I can put the B share up here too. Just 492.18. Raj is just managing his own money, I think. Let's try annuals. See if the Berkshire 10K will be useful to read or not. There's the 10K. We can open the original and just read it here if you like the HTML better. So yeah, 1.4 million shares of stock. The most important business is the insurance business, a freight rail transportation business, and a group of utility, energy, and distribution businesses. That's it. Insurance, railroads, energy. Everything else, don't even think about it. I think it's funny that Buffett bought NetJets, age 94. Yeah, Ajit runs insurance. Spy tanking. Only 46 basis points. I said we'd be down today. Let's see if we'll be down today. All right. Underwriting. So this is where you actually take the risk. In fact, we have 3 years of data here. So I guess with the wildfires, there might be a pretty ugly 2025 for Berkshire. Insurance float. So this is basically just float income. This rises with rates. So that's just going to go up and down with rates if I'm not mistaken. BNSF, very important. This is the railroad. Berkshire Hathaway Energy, pretty volatile earnings there too. And then manufacturing, service, and retailing. What is manufacturing, service, and retailing? That is basically everything that's not energy, railroads, or insurance. So what do you got there? Precision cast parts and some other various manufacturing companies. I think we should take investment gains out, to be honest. What do you guys think? Oh, Michael, you're saying AI can do this for me in seconds? Really? Can you write me a program that can do it? I'll pay you $50,000. Of course it'll be able to do it one day. No. I needed to make a full model for multiple different financial documents. Oh yeah, do it. Just listen, I'll give you $50,000 to send me a program that'll make an entire Berkshire Hathaway financial model perfectly, and then also would do it for other stocks ideally. Send it to martin@dl.software and you'll have $50,000. It's very difficult. I don't know if you know this. I've been doing this for 27 years now. I've been programming computers for around 30. It's not easy. I'm 42 next week. Well, somebody asked a question earlier about whether Cramer or I was a better trader. Cramer is far and away one of the best traders ever. You know, he's just very, very good. I mean, there's just not, I can't even, I would never, on my best day, I wouldn't be a better trader than Cramer. I'm an investor, man. I think I'm a better investor than him. I started programming earlier than that, honestly, but serious programming, yeah, around 11 or 12. I programmed every single day, the whole summer, all day, 8 hours a day. Yeah, there are financial model AIs out there. I mean, we're making one too. Yeah, I've talked to Cramer since, yeah. I started in basic. I did QBasic, basic, quick basic. Then I started doing Visual Basic, Turbo Pascal as well before. I did Turbo Pascal before Visual Basic. And then I did C++ like everybody else. And then I did sort of Visual Basic and Visual C++. And then I basically quit to do Wall Street. And I would use programming a little bit on Wall Street, but not too much. And then I got started back in 2015. A lot of people don't know this, but I started an NLP company. Yeah, stress mostly. I agree with that. I started an NLP company in 2015. I also got arrested in 2015 unexpectedly, but I was working on language processing when I was 20 in 2015 before Transformers or anything like that. I had IBM come in and give us a presentation. That was interesting. Not very good. And, you know, Transformers changed everything, obviously. You know, I did NLP because my research analysts for pharma, they were very bandwidth sort of limited. That was the gate for us doing better. It was like they had too much research to look through from PubMed and stuff like that. And I'll give you an example. This was sort of opening old boxes. This is an example of the stuff my staff sent me. I have about 60 boxes like this, floor to ceiling. This is what my staff would send me while I was in jail. Okay? And basically what they would do is they'd send me the table of contents of journals like PLOS One, Nature, PNAS, all these. And I would circle what papers I want to read. Either I would want the first page or I would want the full journal article. I had about 20 people just doing that. And 𝗕𝗏𝗘 had even more people than I did. And sifting through all the world's information was, really painful. And basically, if we could get a machine to do it, that'd be really great. Now it's a lot easier, but again, writing the for loop that can do this is not as simple as it sounds. You have to write some system that's extremely resilient, and many of these systems are not resilient. They're, if you've ever did agentic programming was, is rather difficult because it's all in you building a robust system, which is APIs for the transformers, the language models. They're sort of, they're pretty unpredictable. Oh, you can definitely compete with programmers who started earlier. I mean, they have a little bit of an advantage, but you can beat them. Anyway, we're looking at Berkshire Hathaway. So Berkshire made $100 billion last year in earnings. That's pretty bullish. I mean, that's 10 times earnings. Now, the problem is that the investment earnings don't really count. So if you exclude the investments, it's more like 50 billion. And now you're looking at still 16 times earnings, pretty good. Investment earnings don't count for the same reason they don't kind of count for anything else like banks, where if you make money in an investment, is that a recurring profit? Or is that net income from a business? It's really a balance sheet thing, right? It's a balance sheet. The value of your investment holdings has changed. I don't think you've made earnings, right? Oh, you can compete right away. I think that all that matters is, hold on, let me find the video. You want to be great at anything. This is all you need to do.
There is no passion, there is no vision, there is no aggression.
Look at the eyes. If you are like that, you'll be fine. No, I'm selling calls against a huge short position. I have a massive short position, $10 million. Massive for me, may not be massive for you. All I do is lose money when I buy puts, unless there's a binary event and there's like the date on the calendar and I know it's going to happen. I mean, there's people that work for funds, right? And if you work for a fund, 10 million isn't maybe a big, huge position. And my delta adjusted position is not that big. It grows if it drops, obviously, but it shrinks if it goes up. For this exact trade, I like this setup, but it has not worked well for me. I just want to be clear. This has been a really rough trade for me. Even though the quantum stocks have gone down, I would have preferred to have just shorted them with common and left alone any options whatsoever. Sometimes I sell puts. I actually just covered some. Selling puts is wise. Even with the stock that you want to short. Yeah, we had a bunch of sideways and up moves for a little while there. So Geico, primary and reinsurance. Honestly, the Berkshire financials are clearer than I expected. And there's a couple ways to do this. You could actually kind of do like railroad revenue up here. And it's interesting at how much it's declined. Like does that go with economic activity or? Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to share my wins and losses. The cassava was great. Galt was great. Quantum's not been that great. But, stocks have gone down a lot, obviously. But it kind of mishandled the exact trade. But that's okay. I think as long as you get the primary move right, that's what matters in the long run. You can have a lot of trades. So Berkshire revenue, it's like 260 billion as an operating company. It's like 3 times. For manufacturing, we have industrial products. Honestly, Berkshire's disclosure has gotten a lot better. Building products and consumer products. So Marmon, so PPC, Lubrizol and Marmon are industrial. So PCC, precision cast parts. I didn't know how close to home building Berkshire had become. Insulation, roofing, flooring, home building. I don't know. It's sort of a bet on population. Forest River. Are those the motorhomes? It's interesting how big NetJets has gotten. NetJets, flight safety, TTI, Dairy Queen. A lot of stuff in construction for Berkshire. Oh, I forgot they bought Pilot. Pilot's really low margin, right? Yeah, super low margin. Pilot, Flying J. McLean is wholesaler. Pretty low margin too, I would imagine. Just go to my GitHub and you can download them. You can have all my models for free. Now just give me your girl's number. Okay, listen, you're telling me you wouldn't let me meet your girlfriend for like my best high leverage, huge stock picks? Thank you. I knew it. Berkshire has like no PP&E. It's crazy. It's kind of nuts. Like they have 30 billion of capital. PP&E earnings are excluding investments are 47 billion. Okay, they have more PP&E than that. Okay, I was lying. They have 175 billion of PP&E in railroad, utilities and energy. Whoops. All the cash is in the insurance side. They break up their balance sheet, but okay. I think I got it. Total assets about $1 trillion. Not much goodwill. Not much goodwill. It's all tangible. Now let's look at loans, other receivables, inventories, equipment, goodwill. More liabilities here. Well, these are just liabilities in general. Let's see if we can add these up. Unpaid losses and loss adjustment expenses. So this is definitely almost like debt. Unearned premiums. Oh, I think I see how to do this. Okay. I think they did. For conversion. I think they did it. Someone converted A shares to B shares. Looks like a small shrinkage of shares outstanding. Yeah, Berkshire's not really holding more cash than before. It's not the way I look at it. But regardless, it's almost exactly $1 trillion market cap. Funny. So 700, yeah, it's about 15 times earnings. There's basically no growth. It seems fairly valued to me. I mean, they'll probably grow earnings. It's a better buy than Procter & Gamble or something. I didn't do any market making today. I ran some fixes on the program, and I wanted to work out these quantum shorts. github.com/Shkreli/models. If you don't know how GitHub works, you're going to have a hard time navigating it. It's pretty simple. You just got to believe you can do it. I believe in you. Who's going to acquire Costco? Costco can't be acquired. It's Trumpco now. Trump Costco. On the bright side, I don't have to log off today. I can stay with you till I fall asleep, which honestly does feel like it could be any minute now. Oh, we should look at Coinbase. That'd be fun. I love how these clowns announced the biggest breakthrough in history, and they even requested a halt of their stock. It was going to be so important. You ain't confusing us? So it sounds like they'll put out 6 or 7 or something. Okay, I have a model here. Well, I think the best way to look at it is don't lose more than 5 or 10% of your money in a day. I mean, even that's a lot. Alex Karp hates wearing suits. $112 stock price. Wait a second. 83 now. 30% loss in one day? You said 30%. Well, 30% loss is tough because you have to make back like a 40% gain. The revenue is just melting. It's like an ice cube. The management team of Chegg, I don't think they care if the company goes to zero or not. Well, first problem here is revenue should just be this plus that, right? So you always want to use formulas when you can. I would definitely do some like user reviews of Palantir. I don't think you need operating margin. I think you want to do like cash flow margin. That's really weird. That's kind of bearish for Palantir. Their headcount's not going up. I guess that's why their margins are going up so much. That's really abnormal. This kind of employee growth, okay, that makes sense. Then it just stopped in 23. But revenue kept growing. Yeah, so obviously this model is garbage. because you're not really explaining why the customers are going to grow 40% forever. So I don't even want to look at the calculation because you're giving me trash. You're basically giving me trash and saying, here, eat this plate of garbage. Operating margin 75%, really? How do you grow revenue 20, 30% a year and don't grow expenses at all? What business does that? Please tell me. Who has an 80% operating margin in the history of business, all of business? I've never seen an 80% operating margin. What you need to do is figure out why would their customers go up, and who can afford to pay $3 million for software every year. For example, think about how many government agencies are there. This is elite software, all right? The average user is paying $4 million a year, 4.6 million a year. There's not that many enterprises that want to pay $4.6 million a year for one software. And I'm not saying it's impossible for them to get to 20, 30 billion revenue, but whomst of amongst us in the history of ERP has done this? That's the way I would look at it. So, up here I would do like CRM, Snowflake, SAP, maybe like Oracle, ERP, if you can, not data, but you can do database if you can, and actually look and see, okay, how many people want to spend that kind of a ticket on software? Not that many. Okay, the biggest company in enterprise sales history is Oracle. It would behoove you to look back in time and see how they did what they did. I mean, big data has been around a while. Snowflake is kind of one of the main competitors, right? No, I understand that. I mean, first of all, Oracle sells so many different things. So let's look at Snowflake model real quick. I mean, my understanding is, Palantir is all analytics. Palantir is all analytics, no? When you say transactional, you're talking about like a database transaction, or are you talking about like a commercial transaction? Oh yeah, I mean, there's other AI players. Palantir has an installed base that's pretty substantial too. Well, RDS, the whole other Redshift and all that, I mean, databases are not, well, I guess, they are peripheral here. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Can't deny that. You're talking about data lakes and things like that. I mean, my understanding is Snowflake's delivered. I mean, 100 million in revenue to a quarter to $1 billion in revenue a quarter. They definitely delivered. Snowflake has done that. But yeah, there are AI first kind of companies doing this, like what's the one with the G? Well, Databricks is a big one. Glean, I think it's, Glean. Glean, there's a couple more. Okay, so Palantir's doing the same amount, right? Snowflake. Is Palantir doing less revenue than Snowflake? One is a 206 billion market cap, one is 43 billion. I mean, one is growing 27%, the other is growing 36%. Both high growth. Oh. Ooh. So he was already on the board? Yeah, I don't know if they want a guy who's on the board. So that means if he was on the board of the old guard, they need new people. I mean, he was a really good CEO at Cadence, but Cadence made software, man. They didn't make hardware. Yeah, I mean, Snowflake has more revenue. So, the growth is probably the same because the lower base. They have a lower base. Okay, so how else can we reason about Palantir? It's an interesting question to think about. What is ChatGPT? Give me a good analysis of what the most reasonable expenditure of the U.S. government is on data lakes, databases, use government statistics and public available research to back up your estimate. Do I have your permission to do research the way I know how to do it, or are you going to teach me? Okay, the whole federal IT, the entire thing is 120 billion. So 12 to 18 billion would be the entire federal IT budget, according to ChatGPT. And it's hard for Palantir to get all of it, right? It seems difficult. But if they got all of it, you'd be talking about that kind of a number. No, you got to add Europeans, you got to add corporates, but you got to do something like that. Like you can't, but that's where I'm like trying to include Snowflake, trying to include like non-cloud. That's a very tricky, this isn't the right way to look at it. So the right way to look at it is How many companies could afford, in your approximation, a $4 million a year data warehouse lake analytics suite? Oh, wow. 20,000. Oh, no. Okay. Wow. 20,000 potential customers. See, you have that happening in 2035. They're not going to get 100% market share. 20 to 25,000 custies. So you're estimating every single company with more than $1 billion in revenue, every single one will be on Palantir. And you're also estimating they have no costs whatsoever. At least 20%. At least 10%. 9% returns. 9%. No, I mean, he could do 9% a year. He could do 9%. I'm going to keep it real. He could do 9% a year. I'm going to keep it real. You're trading in the Congo? I kind of want to make this a tweet. No, it's 50-50. Government, ex-government. Most of the customers won't be government. I think the ARPU would go up over time, to be honest, but I stopped looking at what GPT was saying. And I just stopped right there with like, okay, 20,000 companies. But then I missed this. 60 to 70% realistically. Uh-oh. And further refinement. 40 to 50% probable. Oops. So now we assume every single one of those companies will not, yeah, I don't know, bro. So every single one of the companies who can afford Palantir subscribe to it, and then they come out with a new product we don't know about as well. Man, I really don't want to ever short Palantir. Too many of my friends are tied up into it. This is the gif of the guy crying while he's shooting somebody. Can't do it to you, bro. Can't do it, big bro.